Time now for Night Court. On the docket tonight, a lawsuit against Wisconsin's governor. A conservative think tank filing suit against Democrat Tony Evers, claiming his administration is denying their reporters access to press briefings and press lists. Evers staffers say they provide many opportunities for reporters to attend events with the governor. So let's bring in tonight's Legal Eagles, criminal defense attorney Bob Bianchi and constitutional law attorney Jenna, Ellis, Rives. Thank you both for being with us tonight.
Thanks so much, Shannon.
Okay, so I want to start with Exhibit A. This is the governor, Evers. Deputy Chief of Staff Melissa Baldoff quoted saying this: members of the MacGyver Institute, this is this group that's suing, have attended several of the governor's events, including the budget signing at the Capitol, where a MacGyver member was called on to ask the first question. So, Jenna, sounds like they're being included.
Well, the complaint here by the journalists is that they're being excluded specifically from the press emails and other information that's generally available to all other journalists. And so the First Amendment, of course, protects freedom of speech and freedom of the press. The 14th Amendment, also under equal protection, guarantees journalists the right to equal access, and that they can't be discriminated against for viewpoints. And so imagine, Shannon, if this were President Trump saying, or the press secretary's office or the DOJ saying, we are going to exclude you from a press list and certain events just because you're the Huffington Post or you're CNN. And so just because these journalists have gone to one or two events does not justify public officials saying you can't be on our email list, you can't have other information that's generally available to other journalists, and specifically excluding them from other events where other members and other journalists are able to access.
Okay, that takes us to Exhibit B, and this is from the MacGyver Institute, this conservative group that's suing. They say the First Amendment prohibits government from discriminating against certain news outlets based on their editorial viewpoint, as Jenna was saying. The Constitution also says state governments cannot treat people unequally, which the governor's office does by targeting MacGyver for exclusion while inviting numerous other journalists to these events. Bob, are they allowed to do that?
No, they're not, Shannon, but, you know, here's the thing. I don't know what they're going to argue because I've been researching for at least 6 months this debate, and the governor's office says virtually nothing with regard to this controversy, and I'm going to tell you why. Because we have gotten to a point in government where the executive branch, of which the governor is part of the executive branch, and this is both a Democrat problem and a Republican problem, and if they don't like somebody or they don't like a law, then they just decide they're not going to execute or enforce that law, and they're going to force those people that are offended by that to have to go to court, spend a lot of money, because this governor's not playing to the court of law here, in my opinion, Shannon. He's playing to the court of public opinion. His base loves this, so he wins. Even if he loses. Well,
Jenna, the office also says in our Exhibit C that the governor is committed to openness and transparency. He believes strongly that a fair and unbiased press corps is essential to our democracy. They say, well, listen, they're trying to make it work.
Well, you know, if they really believe that, then why exclude these journalists? I mean, it is so easy. I've been a member of the press. I have been put on countless email lists. It's really not that hard. That's not something that's, you know, there was limited seating or anything. So this is something, Shannon, that I think that that's a great talking point for the governor's office, but that's not actually happening in practicality. I think the journalists here win.
Very quickly, Bob, Bill Luters, who's the president of the Wisconsin Freedom of Information Council, editor of the Progressive magazine, he's like super far left, and he's even out there supporting these guys. He says if Tony Evers has what it takes to lead state government, Exhibit D, he ought to be able to withstand the inclusion and presence of reporters from a conservative news outlet. Even he's on their side. Quick answer.
Yeah, Shannon, I don't disagree with that sentiment. What's good for the goose is good for the gander, but unfortunately in our political environment, the executives on all levels, federal, local, and state, are more concerned about scoring political points and getting political advantage as opposed to doing what we used to refer to, and I was an executive officer, doing the right thing.
All right.
I agree with Bob on that.
Look, you guys agree on some of these key points. Bob and Jenna, you have ably made your arguments to our audience tonight. They are the jury, so we thank you. And for you out there watching in TV land, if you want